Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsea. If you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up or commenting below. If you want to see more of my videos, press the subscribe button and click on the bell for notifications. If you need any Stampin' Up! Products to make this card, you can visit my online store and the link is in the description box below. Today I'd like to share with you my third alternative project using the December 2020 paper pumpkin kit called Beary Comforting. So this fun kit creates 12 cards, 4 in 3 different designs, and I do have an unboxing video that is part of my playlist, and you can find that link up here in the top right corner. Today I'm using some of the scraps from the last couple projects to create this fun card. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so some of the things you're going to need to create this card. From the kit, you're going to need that square cardstock striped piece. And then part of an envelope. And this is the back part that doesn't have any of the striped pattern on it. And the last couple projects that I created used the pattern side. And so now we're going to use this soft sea foam green side. And then for my project number 2, we cut out those gold leaves from one of the card bases. And so for this project, we're going to use this center area here. And so we're going to be trimming that down. You'll also need a card base, and I'm using Rich Razzleberry, and it's just been cut to your normal card base size, which is 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And then you'll need some of the die cuts that came from the kit. I'm going to be using one of the red pandas, a cupcake, and then the smaller of the rectangle label shapes. So to start with, we're going to need to cut down some of our pieces. So the first thing I'm going to do is right here, I'm going to cut this into 1/2-inch strips. So I'm going to start right where my cut line is. So the lowest point where I've trimmed, and I'm just going to trim off that. And now I'm just going to start and cutting 1/2-inch strips here. So there's 1. I'm actually going to flip it over so this longer edge is along the top. So I know that my cut line is going to be nice and straight. So I've gotten 2 so far. I want to try and make sure I have 3. Let's see if I can get another one. It looks like I can't get another one there. So if I wanted, I could probably save this and try to make something from it. But right now, those are just scrap pieces and I'll probably end up throwing them away. So I've got 3 1/2-inch strips and they're 4 1/4 inches. So the next thing we're going to do with these strips is we're going to cut them in half. And so half of 4 1/4 is 2 1/8. And you just go ahead and trim those. And the reason we're cutting them in half is because we want them to appear larger than they are. And so we're just going to be using those little pieces to run across our card. So I will show you that in just a minute. Next, I'm going to take that soft sea foam from the envelope and I'm going to trim this down as well. And I want to trim off this extra flap here. So I'm just going to line that up and trim and then rotate, and I'm going to trim right along the top line there. And it's going to give me a piece that's about 3 3/8. And that's the height of my rectangle. And then again, I'm going to trim off that flap, and it's going to give me a piece that's about 4 1/4 inches. These are just rough measurements, just depending on where you start your cut. Yours might be just slightly larger or slightly smaller. Don't miss next month's kit. The Sending Hearts in January 2021 has everything you need to create 8 adorable cards. You can also purchase the Little Love Boxes add-on kit to make 20 tiny printed boxes. Get the details on my blog, creativechelsea.com. And make sure to sign up before January 10th. So let's go ahead and work on our stamping. We're going to do some stamping on the soft sea foam, and we're going to stamp our greeting. So let's go ahead and do the soft sea foam first. I'm just doing some color on color stamping. So I have the soft sea foam green. If by chance you don't have this ink color, you can go ahead and use another light green color. And I'm just stamping some flowers in the area where the cupcake or present die cut will be. And there'll just be some background elements. And it just kind of helps give a little bit of pattern underneath those die cuts. So just kind of place them in the top left center area. Something like that. Next, we're going to stamp the greeting with the rich razzleberry Stampin' Spot that came in the kit. And I wanted this to be more of a birthday card. And so I'm using the HOORAY from the stamp set that came in the kit. So just ink that up and stamp that in the center. So now my stamping is all done. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the card together. So fold your card base along the score line and make a nice crease with a bone folder. And then if you're using a grid paper, it makes this technique really easy. If by chance you don't, then you may want to use a ruler just to make sure your lines are nice and straight across. And you just need to apply some adhesive to the back of each strip. And then you're going to start by finding the center point on your short side of your card base. So that's the 4 1/4 side. And so you need about 2 1/8 inches on each side. And that's going to give you the center point. So then this first one is going to go right in the middle. So this here is my middle. And so it's a 1/2 inch, so it's a 1/4 on each side. And then it just goes straight up like that. And then I can do the same to the other side. So let me bring it down just a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So I've got that centered on my grid paper. And then right on that middle line, I'm going to add my 1/2 inch strip. And you can see here that there's a gap that will be covered by those other elements. So go ahead, and now you're just going to work away from that center line. I'm just going to give about 1/4 inch between each strip. Okay, so you're going to get something that looks like that. I did forget that we need to cut our striped square cardstock that came from the kit. So go ahead and grab that paper trimmer again. We want our stripes to come, be vertical in that 1/2 inch strip. And so we want to make sure that we cut it so that they will be vertical instead of horizontal, if that makes sense. So you see how they're going up and down through the strip. So that's how we want to cut it. And we're just going to do some 1/2 inch strips here. We need 4 of them, but this piece will give us 6. So if you wanted, you could cut all 6 and then make a second card with these strips. I'm just going to go ahead and stop at 4. Okay, so now we're going to create a frame around our soft seafoam piece, and I'm going to start with the outside left and right edges. And so I'm just going to place this right up to the edge of our soft seafoam and do the same on this side. And then we're going to add the top and bottom piece. If you want, you could butt up one side. I think that's what I'm going to do here on the right, and then tuck it under the side, the left side. So you're going to get something like that, and you just repeat it for the top. I'll kind of do the opposite here, and then tuck it under on that side. Okay, so now we've got this really fun framed soft seafoam piece, and that is just going to go right in the center of our card. Just add that with some adhesive. So you're going to have something like that. And then the rest of our card comes together pretty quickly. Let's start by adding the red panda. I'm going to place him with a couple dimensionals. Let's do one on that side. And I want to place him at an angle. We have a lot of straight lines happening on this card. And so to place, get a little bit of fun feeling to the card, we want a slight angle to him. Then we're going to add our greeting. And I'm going to place a little bit of adhesive where it's going to be over the panda and then a dimensional so that it can adhere to the card. And we're just going to tuck it underneath his little hand. I want to see his little foot right there. So it's going to kind of come up a little bit. And then our last thing we're going to add is the little cupcake. Now on my first card, I did a present. So you could use either one. And he's just going to hold it in his hand and it's going to go over those little flowers that we stamped. So here's the present and the cupcake. And then lastly, I'm going to add some embellishments. And I've got the wonderful gems here. They're just a really fun product. Half of the pack is clear with gold and then the other half is red with gold. And then I'm also going to use the gold twine from the Forever Greenery Combo Trim Pack. And I'm going to cut about 10 inches, tie a knot on, I'm going to tie 2 knots actually, and then cut between those 2 knots. And that's going to keep my ends from fraying. Okay, so I have 2 knots, one there and one there. And then I just take a pair of scissors and trim between the 2. And then it won't fray my gold twine. So find the center and just tie a nice big bow. So I'm just going to find the next glue dot on my roll and adhere that. And I'll sometimes, when I have a small knot like this knot here, I'll sometimes fold it up and over. And then you can just slide that right underneath that corner and adhere it. Just like that. That's turned out really cute. And then take your pickup tool and just add a couple embellishments like we talked about. Around the other die cut elements. And your card is all done. I hope you enjoyed watching me create this fun card today. If you'd like to get close-up images or written instructions, you can visit my blog, creativechelsea.com. If you'd like to sign up to get your own paper pumpkin, please visit the link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.